Columbus, Georgia, this is your City Council. Mayor, Skip Henderson. City Manager, Isaiah Hughley. Pops Barnes, District 1. Glenn Davis, District 2. Bruce Huff, District 3. Toya Tucker, District 4. Charmaine Crabb, District 5. Gary Allen, Mayor Pro Tem and District 6.
Joanne Kogel, District 7.
Walker Garrett, District 8. Judy Thomas, Post 9 at-large Counselor. John House, Post 10 at-large Counselor. Sandra Davis, Clerk of Council. And City Attorney Clifton Fay. Columbus, Georgia, this is your City Council.
To the April 25th meeting of the Columbus City Council. We're delighted to have you here, and we're going to get to the business of the city directly, but we will begin as we always do, and that is by asking for God's presence in this place. And I think we've got Pastor Charles Enfinger, the pastor and executive director of the Narrowway Men's Home of Columbus, Georgia. Is Mr. Enfinger, or Pastor Enfinger here? All right, lacking that, I'm going to ask our Mayor Pro Tem if he would honor us.
Join me in prayer. God, we come to you now thanking you for this day. Thank you for the families that are represented in this room. We ask your continued blessings and guidance on each one here. Lord, bless us, be with each one as we conduct the business of this city. We thank you for the ability to live and work with each other in this city. We look forward to the guidance that you provide for us. We thank you for all you do for us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. If you would, please stand and join me in a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, first on the mayor's agenda is approval of the minutes from April 11th. There's a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Is there a second? Second. Motion and a second. Any edits or any questions of the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, and they are approved. And Councilor John House had asked for a point of personal privilege, and we're going to grant that. But first, I would like to invite to the podium Representative of the Garrison Commander's Office, Brandon Cockrell and Charles Auer. Welcome, gentlemen.
Mayor, thank you. You know, periodically, we get an opportunity to say thank you. And on behalf of General Buzzard, today's one of those days. So if we could have Honorable House, you could be making your way down, please. So, you know, one of the things that being able to say thank you to individuals is so many times we do it, and we often do it kind of on the backside and not on the front side. So what we wanted to do today, sir, is to really say thank you, because throughout the short time here at Benning that I've been in this role, one of the things that you get to see is incredible individuals that show leadership. And we know leadership is extremely unselfishness. And we know that, and sir, throughout the time that I've known you, just the ability that you've been loyal, you've been able to uphold your duty. You have led with respect, showed amazing selfless service, with honor. You've had the utmost integrity and personal courage. So what we wanted to do on behalf of General Buzzard, Colonel Malley, the Garrison Commander, is present you, sir, the Department of Army Meritorious Public Service Medal. So what we would like is, Mr. Auer, would you please read?
Department of the Army. This is to certify that the Secretary of the Army has awarded the Meritorious Public Service Medal to the Honorable John and Marilyn House. Councilman John and Marilyn House are officially commended for exceptionally meritorious service in support of the soldiers and families of the Chattahoochee Valley community. From July 18th, 2018 to April 25th, 2023. As the City of Columbus at-large District 10 Councilman, John's leadership and selfless service exemplifies the strong partnership between Columbus and Fort Benning. John and Marilyn's volunteerism and care for soldiers and their families is in keeping with the highest traditions of community service. Their contributions have made a difference and will be felt for years to come. John and Marilyn's outstanding dedication to the community reflects great credit upon them, the Maneuver Center of Excellence, Fort Benning, and the United States Army. Signed, 21 April 2023, Major General Curtis A. Buzzard.
Well deserved. Well deserved by both parties. You know, I got to say too, I find it interesting that as we are on the, almost the eve of renaming of the military base for a couple who are dedicated to soldiers, this award is also recognizing a couple dedicated to soldiers. So well done, Colonel House. We're working on it. There it goes.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Well, that was certainly unexpected and very much appreciated, especially that you included Marilyn, because she has been a partner throughout our married life for 49 and a half years. And that is the reason why I've had to make this tough decision, because she's at the point that she's not comfortable if I'm not standing there with her. And given all the stuff the Army and I put her through, and 4 children and I don't know how many dogs, she deserves my attention, and so I'm going to go focus my efforts on her very shortly. So thank you again very much to the Fort Benning community. Since this happened, I also have to point out Sharon Bunn back there. She brought me a bunch of flowers for Marilyn and me. So thank you, Sharon. Appreciate that very much. I do want to put a special thank you out there for the citizens of Columbus. Thank you for allowing me to serve and for letting Marilyn be there with me. I've always felt like she and I were a team, and I've done my best to drag her around wherever I went. So we very much appreciate that opportunity and have thoroughly enjoyed meeting people all over the city. And there are great people all over the city doing a wide range of things for their fellow citizens. I want to thank the mayor and the council for putting up with me and whatever kind of questions I had. And I appreciate that help throughout this time. And the city manager and the staff, because they've answered a constant flow of incessant questions about one thing or another, asking for help or just saying, why is this done? One thing that being on the council does allow somebody to do is to see how much the public servants, the paid employees, do. And it's not always apparent what those general government and public safety employees do every day, trying to take care of all of us and trying to keep the city running. So there are a lot of folks out there doing a lot of great stuff, from the garbage collectors to the police officers. So thank them anytime you get a chance, because they don't always get a thank you and they all deserve it. And I very much appreciate it. In case some of you don't know, the way this process works, the city charter actually governs it. And so council gets to pick whoever's going to take my place because of the timing, where we are in my term. In about a year, May of 2024, and if I say something wrong, Mr. City Attorney, of course, tell me, there will be an election, because that's when the election was going to happen to replace me anyway. But that election now will be a special election and a general election. So you're going to get to vote for somebody twice. The special election will cover May to December. The general will be January forward. So as long as you're a citizen of Columbus and you're going to vote, pay attention to that ballot in May of 2024, because it's really important. And you're going to have to sort out who you're going to vote for then. And in following Evelyn Turner Pugh's example, because when I began to look at this, I talked to the city attorney about what had been done before. Evelyn Turner Pugh picked somebody that she'd known for a long time. And so I decided I'm going to nominate somebody that I've known for a long time. Now, the council's going to vote, and they'll decide who's going to be it. But the young man I want to nominate has served the city on the Public Safety Advisory Commission, the Development Authority, and the Charter Review Commission. In fact, he was one of the prime architects for something that the council is still trying to figure out how to do, and that's the Audit Committee, that we've got to get sorted out because the budget is about to happen. He's also been a CFO and a CEO of Delta Data. So my nomination is that Tyson Begley take my place. But then that'll be up to the council I'm making a motion that Tyson Begley take my place.
Okay, there is a motion and a second to the motion. Councilor House?
Yes, sir. I'm with you on the way the process works, but I need to address the audience for a minute. A lot of emails and a lot of phone calls have taken place. And I've had a personal conversation with a few of you, but spoken with Ms. Janice Granville twice and her parents today to understand the position I'm in. I heard from Kawana Ingram a while back, received a bio and everything on her, and I gave her my word before I heard from Ms. Granville, Attorney Granville. And I told someone, if you don't know anything about me, if I promised you I was going to do it, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to turn my back on her. So if it had been Attorney Janice Granville up front, I would have supported her first over anybody else. So I explained to her what's going on, how people find out information, how fast they find out, I have no idea. I just know I've had this for a while. And those of you who have called me, I told you I had received it ahead of time. And that's the honest truth. So as I promised, I will nominate Ms. Kawana Ingram.
Okay. Well, we have a motion and a second for Mr. Begley, and we have a motion from Ms. Ingram.
Actually, the nomination, you don't need a second.
You don't? Okay. Thank you, our parliamentarian over there. All right, so we have two individuals who have been nominated. By the way, we have three counselors, Counselors Tucker, Counselor Garrett, Counselor Davis, who are on with us virtually, so they are listening and will be able to respond to these proceedings. All right, so we'll take them in the order that they were nominated. All those in favor of Mr. Begley, please raise your hand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the 3 counselors are also voting for Mr. Begley.
Okay. And all those for Ms. Ingram, please raise your hand.
1.
Okay. Well, Mr. Begley then will be sworn in to take Councilor House's seat.
Mr. Mayor, could I interrupt just a minute?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, I was about to run out. My plan all along was to slink out the back and go home.
It's my pleasure to offer a resolution for Councilor House. Counselor, we also have a plaque here that says, with sincere appreciation, Johnny M. House, Colonel retired, U.S. Army, Columbus Consolidated Government, City Council District 10, 2018 to 2023. And it's got the seal of Columbus on there for you. Let me read this resolution into the record. Whereas Councilor John House has served as a dedicated member of the Columbus Council since July 31st, 2018. Whereas Councilor House was born in Columbus, Georgia, and attended Johnson Elementary, Arnold Junior High School, and Columbus High School, where he was named valedictorian in 1971. Whereas he attended Auburn University on a 4-year ROTC scholarship and received his commission in 1975 and a BS degree in business. Whereas he served honorably in the United States Army at command staff positions in Germany, South Korea, Southwest Asia, Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and in the U.S., and he retired from the Army in 2001. Whereas since his Army retirement, he has worked as a consultant, Army civilian employee, and university instructor, working part-time for Columbus State University and Liberty University, teaching public administration. Whereas he volunteered at the National Infantry Museum, has served as president of the Civic Center Advisory Board, as a member of the Board of Historic and Architectural Review, the Public Safety Advisory Board, and the Advisory Board for Seneca Choices for Life, the Chattahoochee Valley Volunteer Organizations Active in Disasters, the Coweta Falls Chapter of the Sons of the American Revolution, Southeastern Vet to Vet Peer Support, Inc., and the Kiwanis Club of Greater Columbus. Whereas he and his wife, Marilyn, his high school sweetheart, have 4 daughters, Shannon Jennings, Amanda Merritt, Mary House, and the former Army Captain Carol House. Now therefore, the Council of Columbus, Georgia hereby resolves, we hereby express our deep appreciation to John House for his dedicated service to the Columbus Council and the citizens of Columbus, Georgia. His lifetime of service to his country and his community are a shining example of servant leadership. We wish him and Marilyn all the best in their retirement. I move the adoption.
Motion second to adopt. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes.
Councilor House, if I could, let me just offer a couple of comments. You have been an example of, as the resolution said, true servant leader. You continue your service to your country by serving the citizens of Columbus, Georgia. And your work ethic, I think Mayor Henderson will agree, it's the best I've seen since Mayor Pro Tem A.J. McClung. And you've just been, I think council will agree, you've made us better counselors just trying to keep up with you. So you've been to everything. So I really appreciate that. I'm disappointed, obviously, that you're retiring, but I admire your devotion for Maryland, and we all agree family comes first.
Thank you.
So with that said, Councilor Crabb has an envelope, and we would like for you to open that before you leave.
That should make me cry. I'm gonna be mad. Okay. Can I get?
You got to tell everybody what it is.
Oh, this is good. This is good. Okay, I won't cry this. Marilyn might cry, but I will not cry. It's a gift certificate to Cook's Hot Dogs. There's no finer eating establishment in the city, but from the mayor, friends, and colleagues of Columbus City Council. I very much appreciate that, because I enjoy Cook's a lot. Yeah, I'll tell you funny stories about that some other time, not when on TV. Thank you very much, everybody, for that. I appreciate it. And again, thank you to the citizens of Columbus, and I'm sure about to be Councilor Begley's going to do a great job. And of course, everybody out there, pay attention to what's going to happen when you vote in a year, because that's super important. But I'm going to get out of here and go take care of my girl, because she wants me to get home and take care of her.
Well,
that's why this is all happening.
We have a parting gift for you.
Okay.
And you can take it with you. You don't have to
Should have
open
brought a rucksack to carry it. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilor House,
Thank you, Mayor.
I won't be long, but I just want to add my thanks for the way in which you conducted your business. And I want to thank you for the example you set as a husband and a father and a family man as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You did. I think you did. He really was leaving. Okay. Well, Mr. City Attorney, what's the protocol? Hit your light. I think we're having some technical there you go.
Yeah, if Councilor-elect Begley would like to come on up to his, to the podium first, we're gonna have to get him sworn in by Superior Court Judge Art Smith, who's here, and Probate Judge Mark D'Antonio. But can invite him on up, Mayor.
I do not.
Y'all wanna go around? All right. Marshall, go around the podium. Go around the podium. Right.
Nice to meet you. Can you do me a favor?
Yes.
You want to come up here?
Clerk's got it.
Write your name as you want it to be
Clerk's got it.
on official matters. There
You want to come
and
up
there.
here? Come on up here.
You are actually both a county commissioner and a city council member. That's why you have two judges.
And for those watching, there are two oaths that are administered, one under the charter by a Superior Court judge, and then the other for
Mrs. Beck,
county commissioners. Technically, we're a consolidated government, and the governor issues a commission to our county commissioners. So
I'll just call
this will be a double oath.
her. Ms. Begley, if you would, you want to come forward? Don't need your oath. You may need it. Read my mind. That's great.
Mr. Mayor, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Begley, in just a moment, you're going to take the oath as a city councilor of the city of Columbus. You will have been sworn in by two judges, so you will very much be a member of the city council. And because of the structure of our government, you'll also be a county commissioner of Muskogee County. If you would place your hand on the Bible, and let's do this. I state your name.
I, Tyson Begley,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will well, truly, and faithfully perform
that I will well, truthfully, faithfully perform
the duties of council member of Columbus, Georgia,
the duties of council member of Columbus, Georgia,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and that I will support and defend the charter thereof,
and that I will support and defend the charter thereof,
as well as the Constitution and laws of the state of Georgia and of the United States of America,
as well as the Constitution and laws of the state of Georgia and the United States of America.
and that I further do solemnly swear or affirm
And I further do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will well and truly discharge the duties of Council District 10
that I will well and truly discharge the duties of District 10
of the Columbus-Muskogee County government
of the Columbus-Muskogee County government
in all matters which require my official action to the best of my knowledge
in all matters that require my official action to the best of my knowledge
and skill,
and skill,
and that I will so act, and my judgment will be most conducive to the welfare,
and that will so act that my conduct be most conducive
to the welfare and best interest of the entire county.
to the welfare and best interests of the entire county.
I have been a resident thereof for the time required by the Constitution and laws
I have been a resident thereof for the time required by the Constitution and laws
of this state
of this state
and of this county
and of this county
for the time required by law.
for the time required by law.
I do further swear or affirm
I do further swear or affirm
that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money
I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money
due to this state
due to this state
or any public subdivision or authority thereof.
or any public subdivision or authority thereof.
There, that I am not the holder of any office of trust
That I am not the holder of any office or trust
under the government of the United States,
under the government of the United States,
the state of Georgia,
the state of Georgia,
any other state,
or any other state,
or any foreign state
or any foreign state,
which I am prohibited from holding
which I am prohibited from withholding
by the laws of the state of Georgia,
by the laws of the state of Georgia,
and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office
and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the laws of Georgia,
and the laws of Georgia,
and
that I will support the constitutions
and that I will support the
of
constitutions
the United States
of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
And now your loyalty oath. I state your name,
I, Tyson Begley,
a citizen of Muskogee County,
a citizen of Muskogee County,
and being an employee of Columbus Consolidated Government,
and being an employee of Columbus Consolidated Government,
and the recipient of public funds for services rendered,
and the recipient of public funds for services rendered
as such employee,
as such employee,
do hereby solemnly swear and affirm
do hereby solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America
of the United States of
and
America
the Constitution of the State of Georgia,
and the Constitution of the State of Georgia.
so help you God.
So help me God.
Thank you. Congratulations,
Thank you, sir.
Council.
It's like deja vu all over.
If you will sign here, Council. Thank you. All right. Judge D'Antonio?
Well, as I said, it's kind of like deja vu all over again, and a lot of what, well, when I was, I've been oathing people for quite a while, and I was told that there are different ways of doing the oath. In fact, the joke was, if I don't like you, I'll make you repeat everything after me. But while we're just meeting, I'm going to assume I like you. So
I appreciate that.
I'm going to read the oath and have you say I do.
Right, close to the
Okay, or I can speak louder too. I also have a vision problem, which is why I wear the hat. So let me have you raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will truly and faithfully perform the duties of City Council member to the best of your ability, and that you will support and defend the Charter thereof, as well as the Constitution and laws of the State of Georgia and the United States of America? Do you further solemnly swear or affirm you will well and truly discharge your duties as City Council member in all matters which you are which require your official action to the best of your knowledge and skill, and you will so act as in your judgment will be most conducive to the welfare and best interest of the entire county, and that you have been a resident thereof for the time required by the Constitution and laws of this state? Do you further solemnly swear or affirm that you are not the holder of any public money due this state and unaccounted for, that you are not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, nor any foreign state, and that you are otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution and laws of the State of Georgia, and that you will support the Constitution of the United States and of the State of Georgia, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations. Now we'll get you to sign it. This gets me to the Secretary of State, so I make copies and I'll get you later. Okay. It's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And congratulations.
Thank you, Judge. All right, Councilor Begley, welcome. Next on the mayor's agenda is a proclamation for National Therapy Animal Day. Angie Zapata? Yes, ma'am. Take your time. Come on. And Councilor Kogel will present that proclamation. There you go. Good evening. Good evening.
Hi, I'm Angie Zapata, and this is Sam. Sam is a Rottweiler, And we've been doing therapy in Columbus for 6 years, more than 6 years. I have a couple more teams. I would like them to introduce themselves and maybe also say where we'll go. We'll go like St. Francis. I'll go to St. Francis and maybe schools.
Okay.
Irma Rodriguez, this is Gabriella, AKA Gabby. We go to St. Francis, Piedmont, Gentiva Hospice, also to Dorothy Heights to do our volunteer. And we've been doing this for over 8 years.
I'm Claire Bedingfield, and this is Sassy. We visit the Legacy Memory Center.
Good afternoon. My name is Cayenne Robinson, and this is Prince, and we currently volunteer at Orchard View. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jenny Dunford. This is Caprice, and we do St. Francis Hospital, Easter Seals, and St. Luke Respite.
Well, welcome all of you. Councilor Kogel is going to present a proclamation if you'll allow us.
It's my pleasure to read this proclamation. Dogs are a little bit of my kryptonite, so I do have a very soft spot for our four-legged friends, so it's my pleasure. And the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas there are thousands of pet partners, therapy animal teams serving in communities across the United States, and whereas Pet Partners has designated April 30th as National Therapy Animal Day, and whereas Pet Partners therapy animal teams in Columbus, Georgia play an essential role in improving human health and well-being through the animal-human bond. And whereas Pet Partners therapy animal teams make millions of visits per year in settings such as hospitals, nursing homes, schools, and hospice. And whereas Pet Partners therapy animal teams interact with a variety of people in our community, including veterans, seniors, patients, students facing literacy challenges, and those approaching the end of life. And whereas these exceptional therapy animals who partner with their human companions bring comfort and healing to all of those in need. Now, on behalf of Skip Henderson III, Mayor of Columbus, Georgia, he proclaims Sunday, April 30th, 2023 as National Therapy Animal Day. Very excited.
All of you come around if you don't mind. We got one for all of you. There you go. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you do. Yeah, my wife's dog has a therapy human. My job is to take the dog in. Thank you for what you do. Thank y'all. Thank you. She may not give it back. Thank you. Hey, Angie, I've got a few others if yeah. That's fine. Yeah. So let's thank you. Councilor Crabb.
It's my pleasure to read into the record a proclamation for Georgia Cities Week. So
we can get our staff, yeah.
So we can have the staff come forward.
And we're going to also ask those department directors who are participating in the Georgia Cities Week to come forward as well.
Whereas city government is the closest form of government to most citizens and has the most direct impact upon its residents. And whereas city government is administered for and by its citizens and is dependent upon public commitment to the understanding of its many responsibilities. And whereas city government officials and employees share the responsibility to pass along their understanding of public services and their benefits. And whereas Georgia Cities Week is a very important time to recognize the critical role played by city governments in our lives. And whereas the Georgia Municipal Association and its member cities have joined together to teach students and other citizens about municipal government through a variety of different projects and information. And whereas Georgia Cities Week offers a significant opportunity to spread the word to all the citizens of Georgia that through their civic involvement, they can shape and influence their local government, which most directly impacts their daily lives. And whereas the mayor and city council encourages all citizens, government officials, and government employees to do everything possible to ensure this week is recognized and celebrated accordingly. Therefore, B.H. Skip Henderson III, Mayor of Columbus, Georgia, does hereby proclaim the week of April 23rd to 29th, 2023 as Georgia Cities Week.
Thank you so much for that recognition. And as you know, that this is something that we do each and every year. This is the 24th year that this has been recognized. Georgia cities, over 160 participated on last year. The city of Columbus continue to have activities and participate each year. And this is just an opportunity for us to be able to show what the achievements of the city have been through its employees, through all the various organizations within the city or the departments within the city, and just to be able to have our citizens see and to participate and learn more about these departments. And so what we have here this week are a number of different events that we're going to showcase. I do want to recognize my assistant, Altamise Wilson, and Deladia King with Human Resources, and I'm going to ask these young ladies to come forward, and they are going to, if you will, introduce the departments, and those departments will come and to share with you what they are going to do this week, and just less than 2 minutes to be able to say, what they have planned for this week. And of course, the first one will be Keep Columbus Beautiful. So you can ask her to come forward.
Director Lisa Thomas-Katz.
Good evening. We were so happy and ecstatic at the Keep Columbus Beautiful Commission to kick off the Georgia Cities Week. We kicked it off by having a cleanup effort, tree planting of the Charlie Hill Park, as well as the Bellwood neighborhood. We had various city departments assist and participate, Columbus Public Works, Parks and Rec. We had our police, our sheriff department assist. Our mayor came out and graced us with his presence and stayed for the whole event just about. We had various fraternities, sororities, companies, sponsors, individuals. It was a great event had by all. And so we were happy. It was Earth Day, and it was the kickoff to the week, and we really enjoyed it. And it was a great effort, and tons of trash and litter, and 4 trees were planted. So it was a great day.
Becky Summerlin, Parks and Rec Assistant Director.
Good evening. We are having our event tomorrow at the Mulroney House, which is 805 Fifth Avenue. We're very excited about this event. Tomorrow is Mulroney's birthday, and it's also, we're going to honor her. She received a Grammy at this year's Grammy Awards. Her family is actually donating that Grammy to the house as part of this event, and we've just got a spectacular program tomorrow. Of course, the mayor, the city manager, deputy city manager Goodwin will be speaking, so will her relatives. We'll show a short video, and it'll just overall be an event to honor her in her life.
Director Jarrell Short from Public Works.
Okay, I don't don't see Drell here, but they are, of course, doing what they did last year. They had an equipment rodeo at the Columbus Civic Center. It will be tomorrow on the east side parking lot. So this will be an opportunity to be able to showcase what their employees are able to do in terms of operation, good operation of the equipment that they have, all types of heavy equipment. So again, I believe it's from 10 to 2. And if you're able to come out, the public, come on out and just kind of see what they're looking to do. But it's going to be tomorrow at the Civic Center.
Next, we have Day of Golf. Jim Arndt is in here, and we have Becky Summerlin speaking on his behalf.
Okay, I'm not sure. Jim, of course, is not able to come, but he did send a little statement that he'd like for us to be able to read on his behalf, that tomorrow, or on the April the 26th from 11 to 2 at Oxbow Creek, there's going to be an introduction to golf at the Columbus course, and there are going to be clubs available for our new golfers. The professional staff will be on hand to help answer any questions and provide any tips. Coca-Cola will be providing refreshments to the visitors. And again, he'd like as many people to come out. And if you're not a golfer, this is your opportunity to learn, and they're going to be there to assist you along the way.
Next, we have Fair Housing Seminar with Director Rob Scott.
Good evening, good evening. We're just short 2 weeks of celebrating the 55th anniversary of the passage of the Fair Housing Act. The Fair Housing Act is a vital part of what we, to protect the protected classes that need protection. Familial status, race, color, those types of things. Tomorrow in this very space, we will be hosting a fair housing workshop, which is intended for the community to learn more about how to protect themselves against discrimination as it relates to fair housing. And then the following day, April 27th, we will be having a landlord workshop here at the CSC in the community room. So those landlords can understand how to protect themselves so that they don't create discriminatory practices which would preclude someone from attaining housing. So if you are available to come out, please come out. There's a lot of information that we want to share, and we just want to do our best to educate the community. Thank you.
Next, we have Retha Hollowell, Director of Human Resources.
Hello, I'm Mariah Thomas. I'm a recruiter with the city. We're going to have a hiring event alongside of the rodeo event on tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So on the hiring event, we're hoping that the public that comes to the rodeo will be interested in some of our job opportunities if they don't have a job or are looking for a better opportunity. We also have a van so that we can also transport those new hires directly to the facilities. So if they have a conditional hire, we could solidify that. And that's gonna be tomorrow.
Can I wanted to clarify for the landlord workshop on Thursday, April 27th, that will be from 1 to 5 in the citizens' room downstairs in this building.
All right, next we have the Assistant Chief of Police, Joyce Fitzpatrick for Columbus Police Department.
Good evening. Good evening. We're having, right now, we are actually having a class that I have to get back to. We're having a game class down in the basement of the Columbus Police Department, and it started at 5:30 and it's going to end about 7:30-ish. And we're giving our citizens some information about the gang resistance and how to contact us when you see gang activity. Our analysts are down there, and they're giving out information to all of our citizens. Now, this year, the Columbus Police Department decided to do 2 events, which was an undertaking. So Thursday, we will be here in the Citizen Services Center in this chamber for an active shooter response. We will segue into, we'll have 911 dispatchers here to give the public an overview of what we expect for them to tell us. I know we ask a lot of questions, but we have to get the description of the shooter, just in case the shooter's standing outside when we get there, and we need to know what poses a threat for us. So we're gonna give them options according to Chance Corbett. He's gonna teach that class. We encourage everyone to come out. We're especially inviting our faith-based organizations, because that seems to be where these mass shootings are taking place, as well as our schools. So thank you, come out.
Next, we have Crystal Ackles, Director of 311.
Good evening. My name is Crystal Ackles. I'm the director of the 311 Citizen Service Center. In our Citizen Service Center, we are all about connection. So this Thursday, we will be here in the Citizen Service Center on the first floor. We'll be signing everyone up that walks through the door for our Civic Ready. Our Civic Ready mass notification system allows citizens to know what's happened actively at that moment in their district. And we'll also be helping those download and navigate our 311 app. Our Columbus 311 app allows for citizens to put in work orders for things that they see. If there's potholes, dilapidated houses, things of that nature, they can take pictures, they can upload them. They can see our current events, our city council agendas, minutes, all of those things in our app. So we will be here this Thursday from 11 to 2 on the first floor, helping those with our 311 app and getting registered for our Civic Ready.
Next, we have Felicia Marshall, Director of Workforce Investment Act.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Felicia Marshall with the Job Training Division. We housed over in the Annex Building, and we offer federal programs. We send people to school and training. We pay up to $10,000 for someone to retool and retrain. So tell all your family and friends. We're going to be out there tomorrow at the Civic Center. We're going to have our mobile unit out there. You can come on and apply for our program. You could get to meet some of our vendors and one of our contractors that work with us. They're going to have, like, the Columbus Tech students going to be doing blood pressure checks and other things that they offer out there. So some of our students going to come back and give their testimony, let the public know how we have served them and how we have helped them. And also we're going to have our one of the 18-wheelers from one of our vendors, Georgia Driving Academy, and they're going to have a tour of their trucks so they can come out, and we pay for that training as well. So if you want to know anything about it, we house in the Annex Building. My name is Felicia Marshall. You could ask for me or one of our program specialists. And my director is Howard Pendleton. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Sal Scarpa, Director of Fire and EMS.
Good evening. The Department of Fire and EMS is going to host an open house event this Saturday from 9 to 1 at Fire Station 1. We're inviting the community to come out to our fire station to meet with firefighters, tour the fire station, look at the fire trucks, get their kids' picture taken on fire trucks. We will have all of our assets from Station 1, which is also houses our water rescue team. We're also bringing in our GSAR asset, which is our Georgia Search and Rescue Tractor Trailer. So all those resources will be on display for our community to come and observe and interact with firefighters, and we hope it to be a fun event for everybody. We're looking forward to it.
Chief, tell us where Station 1 is.
My apologies, Station 1, you would have to ask me that actual address. It's downtown on
The corner of 2nd and 10th.
205 10th Street, thank you. I knew that.
What times, Chief?
That will be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thank you, Chief.
Next, we have Rosa Evans, Director of Metro Transit System.
Excuse me, my name is Everett Fleming, Assistant Director for Metro, and Rosa's here as well. This week, of course, we are promoting public transit, and all of our current fixed route and dollar ride customers will have the opportunity to be entered into a drawing to win 2 one-way passes, and they can use those at any time. And so if you are just here in Columbus, you're a visitor, it's the first time you want to check out some of our new buses and get a ride, you would get a round-trip pass for free. All you have to do is to come by our office at 814 Linwood Boulevard, and we'll be happy to assist you. Thank you.
Okay, and the last event that we will have to round this all out, we started with Keep Columbus Beautiful on the 22nd, and on Saturday, the 29th, we will kind of close this out with a large celebration, a block party in front of the Liberty Theater. And this is the excitement of what's to come. And this is going to be from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. We are going to have a lot of good music. We'll have Peggy Jenkins, we'll have the Columbus Jazz Society, RIA 706, and Rocket Power will be there to be able to entertain us. We will have food trucks, Rosa's Caribbean Food, we'll have Her Fun, Sweet Treats, and Chester's Barbecue will be there as well. And so again, this is going to be Saturday, April the 29th, from 7 to 11 p.m. Right there, directly in front of the Liberty Theater. You know that the city is now under the ownership of the city, and we appreciate council approving that. And we are now going to kind of get things started. So what you will see when you go by the Liberty right now is a fenced area. You will see photos that are up on the windows just instead of boards. And so we are really going to be showcasing what we're looking to do in the Liberty. We want to be able to let the public know what you see today is not what you're going to see months from now. And so again, this is the excitement of what's to come. And we're just excited to be able to showcase the Liberty Theater in this way. And this is just the first of many activities that will take place. So we look forward to the public coming out and being a part of all of this excitement. So this is Georgia Cities Week. So thank you so much for recognizing this.
Thank you,
Questions?
Deputy City Manager.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't appear to be any questions, but I will hearken back to what John House said, and that is you have no idea the kind of individuals we have that get up every morning thinking about how they work to deliver services to the citizens of this community. They don't get thanked often. They're not asking for thanks during Georgia Cities Week. They're just offering you a peek behind the curtain as to what they do. So we hope you'll take advantage of some of these incredible activities and go check out some of Georgia Cities Week. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you, and thank you all.
Oh. I forgot to give the Deputy City Manager her proclamation. I'll get that to you in a few minutes. All right, next is a proclamation recognizing Small Business Week. Are there members of the chamber here? And Councilor Thomas will read this into the record.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm privileged to read this into the record today. Whereas America's strongest economic growth in almost 40 years has been driven by the resilience of our small businesses who, despite a worldwide pandemic, continue to pioneer innovative solutions to our country's greatest challenges and create opportunities for families and workers. And whereas from the storefront shops that anchor Main Street or Broadway to the high-tech startups that keep America on the cutting edge, to the small manufacturers driving our competitiveness on the global stage, small businesses are the backbone of our economy and the cornerstones of our nation's promise. And whereas we support small business, jobs are created and local communities preserve their unique culture. And whereas because of this country's 32.5 million small businesses create nearly 2 out of 3 jobs in our economy, we cannot resolve ourselves to create jobs and spur economic growth in America without discussing ways to support our entrepreneurship. And whereas the President of the United States has proclaimed National Small Business Week every year since 1963 to highlight the programs and services available to entrepreneurs through the U.S. Small Business Administration and other government agencies. And whereas Columbus, Georgia supports and joins in this national effort to help America's small businesses do what they do best, grow their business, create jobs, and ensure that our local communities remain as vibrant tomorrow as they are today. Now therefore, Skip Henderson, the mayor of Columbus, Georgia, does hereby proclaim April 30th through May 6, 2023 as National Small Business Week in Columbus, Georgia.
On behalf of the Greater Columbus Chamber of Commerce, Gerald Mitchell, our president, and the rest of the staff, Mayor Henderson and City Council, we thank you for the proclamation. As Representative Thomas said, small business is the driver and the backbone of our economy. We have over 7,000 active business licenses in Columbus, Georgia. And this proclamation will give us the energy to start a new tradition in Columbus of highlighting, recognizing, and celebrating our small business community. Standing here with me is my colleague Heather Chasen at the Chamber. And again, we'd just like to say thank you.
Thank you. If y'all would come around, let us congratulate you, and I'll give you a copy of the proclamation. All right, next, we have a proclamation acknowledging Mental Health Awareness Month. We've got some of the staff of New Horizon here, and we'd like to ask them to join us at the podium, and Councilor Barnes is going to present this.
I'm going to tell him. Thank you, New Horizons, for coming down. This is very important. Ms. Susan Gallagher always says there is no health without mental health. That is right. And so it's my pleasure to read this proclamation. It says, whereas Mental Health Awareness Month was first acknowledged in 1949 to celebrate recovery and raise awareness of mental health being essential to a person's overall health and well-being. And whereas bringing awareness to the importance of mental health reduces the stigma and the discrimination that is sometimes associated with those that seek treatment. And whereas it is estimated that more than 1 in 5 U.S. adults live with a mental illness ranging from mild to moderate to severe. And whereas individuals living with a severe persistent mental illness have a lower life expectancy than the general population due to difficulties detecting and managing physical conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, asthma, and cancer. And whereas the New Horizons Behavioral Health REACH program provides affordable and effective integrative health care for adults living with mental illness and co-occurring physical health challenges that work to improve health and mental health outcomes for quality of life. And whereas New Horizons Behavioral Health partners and collaborates with Tree of Life Healthcare, Inc., and coordinates care with other healthcare providers in our community to better serve individuals living with a severe, persistent mental illness to improve health outcomes for this underserved population. And whereas we as a community recognize the importance of care for the whole person, body, and mind, that there is no health without mental health. Now, therefore, the Honorable Mayor of Columbus, Georgia, B.H. Skip Henderson does hereby declare May the 2023 as Mental Health Awareness Month in the city of Columbus, Georgia.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. This is a wonderful city, and it shows that you support and value to care for our mental health. We have a wonderful team here at New Horizons, and we're just going to be before you briefly to talk about some of the wonderful services that we provide for our citizens here. Dr. Pamela Shaw is going to come first.
Thank you, and thank you guys for this proclamation. We really do appreciate it. I do work for New Horizons. I've been there a total of about 11 years and about a total of 30 years with mental health altogether. And we do provide outreach, day treatment for adults with mental health. We do provide treatment as far as medication and counseling. We also provide treatment for depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia, as well as physical health, such as you name pops, such as diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, because they, just like they have mental health, they have physical health issues as well. And then we also provide substance abuse for the opiate and heroin and alcohol use. So we're proud of what we do, and we love our patients, and we love what we do.
Again, thank you so much, and I also want to recognize one of our members of our board of directors, Senator Ed Harbison is with us today, so I want to thank him for joining us and supporting us in all that we do. Thank you.
Thank you. If you could come around, let us thank you. And
So good to see you. So good. I got a call you on, so I'm doing a proclamation for nurses on the 9th. Susan, the CFO. Thank you. So good to see you. Uh-oh, don't worry about it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, y'all. Thank you so much.
Hey, so good to see you, man. We have to get together. She said, we look like brothers. Hey, Chloe. Oh, you keep it something.
Yeah, we'll see you in just a minute. Just a minute. Don't get comfortable.
New Horizon rocks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's state representative. I know who it is. Oh, okay.
Oh, so you told us you could?
There you go. That'll work. That'll work.
Please don't be offended
No.
because they said he was younger.
No. I'm proud to be an octogenarian.
all right, and then we've got another proclamation recognizing National Library Week from the Columbus Area Library Association. Is Dr. Kimberly here? Here they come. And Councilor Crabb is going to present this. Welcome, ladies.
No. Whereas libraries provide the opportunity for everyone to pursue their passions and engage in lifelong learning, allowing them to live their best life. And whereas libraries have long served as trusted institutions for all members of the community, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status. And whereas libraries strive to develop and maintain programs and collections that are as diverse as the populations they serve and ensure equity of access for all. And whereas libraries adapt to the ever-changing needs of their communities, continually expanding their collections, services, and partnerships. And whereas libraries play a critical role in the economic vitality of communities by providing internet and technology access, literacy, skills, and support for job seekers, small businesses, and entrepreneurs. And whereas libraries are accessible and inclusive places that promote a sense of local connection, advancing understanding, civic engagement, and shared community goals. And whereas libraries are cornerstones of democracy, promoting the free exchange of information and ideas for all. And whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers are joining library supporters and advocates across the nation to celebrate National Library Week with the theme, "There's More to the Story." Whereas Mayor Henderson and the City Council of Columbus, Georgia encourage all residents to visit their library to explore the wealth of resources available. Now, B.H. Skip Henderson III, Mayor of Columbus, Georgia, does hereby proclaim April 23rd to 29, 2023 as National Library Week.
Thank you for the presentation. It's an honor today because also it's National Library Week, but today is National Library Workers Day. My name is Dr. Kimberly Scott, and I'm a media specialist at Columbus High School, now also the president of the Columbus Area Library Association. It's even more special for me to be here with my first librarian. I am an Army child, and in Germany, I got my first library card in Würzburg, Germany. And she was my first librarian. She's also a former president of CALA. And CALA was formed in 1985 to help to bring together librarians and school librarians across the state of Columbus and Phoenix City. And it's open, membership is open to anyone who's interested in libraries and the study of libraries. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would come around, let us thank you. Thank you, ladies. All right, we've got one more proclamation in recognition of Ma Rainey, and it's going to be presented by Councilor Bruce Huff. Councilor Huff, you'd hit your light. Hey.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Yeah,
there we go.
hit it again.
Okay. There we go. Before I read this proclamation, sometimes when you're a child growing up, you don't realize you are part of history that's going on around you. And as a child, as a lot of the guys, ex-athletes I see in the audience, you know how we used to go and just find a football and a bunch of kids and we just have a sandlot game and we just play out in front of whatever house was available. We played out in front of Ma Rainey's house many a days, had no idea that she was as famous as she was, that she was a singer. We just needed a place to play. So we played from Ma Rainey's house back up past the USO. So in that time frame, my brother's here today. Charles was born on March 17th, and Frank Nix was born March 31st. They were 2 weeks apart. They've been best friends their whole life. They went through school from kindergarten to 12th grade, and they stay in contact today. So when they were trying to find relatives of Ma Rainey to dedicate the school, Charles overheard a conversation that they couldn't find anyone, and he gave Frank a call. And Frank was able to come down. Frank Nix was the one that also attended the Grammys to receive the Grammy posthumously for the family. And his nephew and a couple of people are here in town. I don't see them. They were supposed to be here tonight, but I'm sure they'll be there in the morning. So we just want you to know, and the public, the viewing public to know what's going on. And I want to read this proclamation into the record. Whereas often called the mother of the blues, Ma Rainey was known for her deep-throated voice and mesmerizing stage presence that drew packed audiences and sold hit records in the early 20th century. Also a songwriter, her lyrics and melodies reflected her experiences as an independent, openly bisexual African-American woman. And whereas Ma Rainey was born Gertrude Melissa Nix Pritchett in Columbus, Georgia on April 26, 1886. Her parents, Thomas and Ella Allen Pritchett, were minstrel performers. Rainey displayed a talent for singing at a young age and began performing as a teenager. She made her debut with the Bunch of Blackberries review at the Springer Opera House in Columbus. She then began singing with traveling vaudeville acts in tent shows, honky-tonks, and carnivals. And whereas Rainey, the mother of the blues, was influential for bridging the traditions of vaudeville and authentic Southern blues. The blues descended from the call and response storytelling songs of West Africa. Captive Africans passed these traditions down through the generations while enslaved in the Western Hemisphere. Rainey's strong voice and style of singing fueled her success. A vibrant stage presence, she was known for her gold teeth, flashy clothing, and jewelry, and establishing a personal connection with her audiences. Whereas Rainey's cultural legacy is profound, she was a mentor to the legendary blues singer Betsy Smith. Rainey is credited with inspiring later singers including Dinah Washington, Big Mama Thornton, and Janis Joplin. Her story inspired famed playwright August Wilson's 1982 play, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which takes its title from Rainey's 1927 song of the same name, which in turn refers to the black bottom dance trend of the 1920s. The play was a Broadway success and was recently adapted as a film. And whereas after a long career of touring and over 100 recordings with Paramount, Ma Rainey retired to her Fifth Avenue home in Columbus in the early 1930s. She was inducted into several Hall of Fames, including the Blues Foundation's Hall of Fame in 1983, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1990, the Georgia Music Hall of Fame in 1992, and the Georgia Women of Achievement in 1993. She was commemorated by the U.S. Postal Service for her achievements in 1994 with a stamp in her honor. She also received a Grammy Award posthumously this year at the 2023 Grammy Awards. Now therefore, B.H. Skip Henderson III, Mayor of Columbus, Georgia, do hereby take great pleasure in presenting this proclamation of appreciation to honor Columbus's native Ma Rainey and her many accomplishments. And we don't have to move for adoption because it's not a resolution. But if anyone's, before we stand, if anyone's available, if any of the family did come in, I don't see them. But in the morning at 10 o'clock, is it 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock at the Ma Rainey House, they will have a ceremony there and the Grammy will be presented, the posthumously received Grammy will be presented to the Ma Rainey House.
Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you, Counselor. I hope you all can join us tomorrow. All right, next, that's it for the proclamations, but we are fortunate. We have with us today some members of our delegation. I see a number of them out there. I'm going to invite them to the podium. I know Senator Ed Harbison is going to give a post-legislative session update, and if you want to, if the rest of the delegation wants to come forward and either sit on the front row or stand here with him, I got to tell you, the delegation that Columbus has for many, many years, including this one, it is recognized as one of the strengths of our community and one of the strongest and most cohesive delegations in the legislature.
Yes.
Senator, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor and honorable members of the council. I'm just so honored to be here with my esteemed colleagues, Senator Randall Robinson, who served with me in the Senate, my colleagues from the House, who raise me every day and make me better than what I should be, Representative Carolyn Hughley, Representative Teddy Reeves, and Representative Debbie Buckner. They all, I just want to mention that we certainly miss our former colleague, Representative Calvin Smith, who brought these reports and who did an outstanding job. I'm just honored to be here today. And you too, Mr. City Manager. It's good to see you up in this house. Always. It's good to see you. First of all, let me say that I'll start off and allow some of the members of the council, members of our colleagues to come up and talk about various parts of the legislative activities that we were involved in. First of all, we started with the budget, and I'll let Representative Hughley come up and discuss some of those items that we were charged with doing. Then we go down the list of the 8 to 11 items that you gave us regarding our mission for this year. If you would, Representative Hughley, you would read the.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's our pleasure to be with you to talk about the 40 days and 80 nights of the Georgia General Assembly. We were charged with doing several things by this council, and the chairman has outlined what we have been asked to do. Number one, requesting that the local legislative delegation to the Georgia General Assembly introduce or support legislation which maintains local municipal control of units used as short-term rentals. Legislation has been introduced, and as you know, this is the first year of a 2-year term. And all legislation that's introduced in year 1, that's not passed in year 1, carries over to year 2. So some of these things are going to be works in progress. Number 2, requesting that the delegation introduce or support legislation to revisit the current legislation providing certain state sales tax credits for production companies producing music or musical theater productions to make it more feasible for production companies to take advantage of these credits. And this is something that we're going to carry over on our to-do list. As well as number 3, we will carry that over, requesting that the delegation introduce or support an amendment to OCGA 32-44-21 or any similar proposal which clarifies that code section by providing standard definition and eliminates the prohibition against the acquisition of property in TADs by all CCG employees. And that's something that we'll be carrying over as well. Number 4, requesting that the local delegation introduce legislation to amend the county special purpose local option sales tax or SPLOST to allow that consolidated governments may allocate up to 5% of the tax levied to the maintenance of the capital outlay projects approved by the referendum. And this was introduced, and I think Senator Robinson has that in committee, but it also has to come over to the House. And so our House committee, which will be shepherded by Representative Buckner, because she's on that Ways and Means Committee. They're going to look at that next year. And hopefully next year we'll have a resolution with that. Number 5, a resolution requesting the local delegation support legislative actions that will encourage negotiations with Alabama to provide reciprocal sovereign immunity. And this was introduced in the Senate, and Senator Harbison indicates that it was passed on February the 2nd in the Senate. And so it has to come to the House. Is that right, Senator?
That's right.
So it's going to come over to the House. Number 6, a resolution requesting the local delegation introduce legislation for the support of funding for behavioral health, addictive diseases, and developmental disabilities. And of course, our budget this year We did address that in many areas of the budget. It is something that's very important to us. As you know, our former speaker, who recently passed away, Speaker Ralston, was very interested in mental health. And so that is reflected in our budget. And so that is something that we just let it go in the budget. So our next one is number 7, a resolution requesting the local delegation to the Georgia General Assembly introduce statewide legislation that will require prompt notification of county and city police and fire departments, licensing departments, and planning and zoning departments upon licensing of child caring institutions, foster care homes, and personal care homes as defined and used above. This is something that we have been working on for several years, but unfortunately, the players changed with the Department of Family and Children Services, Department of Human Services. They got new people. They're trying to get established, and so that's something that we're going to continue to work on with them. And same thing with the requiring of a minimum of 2 staffing. That's something that we're trying to get them to do in regulation as opposed to having statewide legislation. Because as you know, all of our departments were severely challenged with staffing. And I'm sure the city is no different. And so that's what we heard from department after department after department throughout our budgetary hearings is a lack of staff and very high turnover. So we decided not to try and impose this upon them at this time because of the challenges everybody is facing. The next thing is a resolution requesting the delegation introduce an amendment which will allow voluntary acquisition of property within a TAD by elected officials and employees of a political subdivision, but prohibit receipt to any TAD funded by such elected officials or employees, and to further amend said law so as to clarify that elected officials may conduct business within a TAD and that citizens owning a business, property, or home within a TAD can run for and hold any elected office in a county which has created TAD districts. And Mr. Chairman, what say you on this one?
Actually, what we were called, on which one was this one?
The TADs.
On the TAD, let me call for Senator Robinson. This one is in hiatus, it's on hold, and we'll deal with it in 2024 because this is something that they've looked at, dealt with, and it hadn't passed before. While at the same time, I will say that regarding one of the bills that we've been fighting for years by way of the city manager, the mayor, and the whole council, was something dealing with the maintenance fees that we try to every year pass because we're trying to get people to understand that we can't just spend the money without strict guidelines from that ad valorem deals that we pass. We went before the committee, and I allowed State Senator Randy Robertson to come up and speak to that one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. City Council, thank you all for taking the time out to invite us in this evening. We did carry the SPLOST legislation to the Finance Committee over on the Senate side. Myself and Senator Ed Harbison presented the legislation. It was a committee of 7, and when it came to a vote, it was 3-3, and the chair, Senator Huffstadler out of Rome, who is also the chair of Finance and an extremely intelligent man when it comes to taxes, tax credits, and other things, voted against our proposal at the time because he wants to look at a more creative way that we can do that. His fear is, of course, that amendments might be made to basically undermine the purpose of the special local option sales tax. So we do continue to work on that. Coming up in the session, myself and Senator Harbison closely on that side. Briefly on the budget side in appropriations, which I know Representative Hughley serves on appropriations over in the House along with others, and I have the pleasure of serving on appropriations over on the Senate side, that we were able to bring back some money to the city of Columbus. We brought back a substantial amount of money for Columbus State University, Columbus Tech, dealing with the design project that they have going on there on River Road. And it's kind of, it's nice that the mental health community was recognized this evening because we were able to bring back a substantial amount of tax dollars to continue assisting the projects that are going on through St. Francis and through some of the other players in the community within the healthcare community to continue building up the strength of the mental health providers and resources necessary to address what has become a plague, I'm sad to say, in our country today. And so to be able to bring back the citizens' tax dollars to address this serious issue was a bright light. But on all of the things that Representative Hughley was talking about, the delegation has stuck very close together. We have a very well-respected delegation up there. Individually, we may not agree all the time, but as a group, we're a pretty formidable team, and we do stick together on the things that we know are important to the city of Columbus, and I do appreciate your time this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Robertson. At this time, if you may, Mayor and Council, I'd like you from Representative Debbie Buckner regarding the hotline issue that we discussed as one of the issues as well.
That is still in the works. The idea was to provide and request that there be a hotline for the be posted appropriate hotline numbers to report abuse in the child caring institutions, foster care homes, and personal care homes. With the mental health bill, there were hotline numbers and requirements, and so we decided that rather than pushing that right now, we would wait and see how that's all going to pan out, but it's not over. We're just held back till we could see how it was going to develop. I'd like to share with you a bill that you didn't ask for, but I thought you needed. So this is one of those, I hope it's going to be okay. For several years, I have been concerned that we have in the state of Georgia the collection of hazardous waste fees. The hazardous waste fees are supposed to be dedicated to the Hazardous Waste Trust Fund to be used for hazardous waste cleanups. There were fees that were never dedicated, and I've been working for several years to get all of the hazardous waste fees dedicated to that trust fund because, as you know, when there are hazardous waste sites, it is very expensive to clean them up. That did pass, so that does mean that at some point in the future, should the city need some funds for a cleanup of a hazardous waste site, those fees will be in that trust fund secure for cities all across and counties all across our state to get some assistance. So I feel like that's okay with you guys, and I hope so. The other thing that is kind of controversial, and I haven't checked it out with my buddies back here, but also for several years, because we do have some concerns about people having guns, I have had a bill that has to do with the fact that we are the only state in the United States that allows people that have been involuntarily committed to the mental health hospitals to get a gun 5 years after leaving the hospital just because the computer purges the list. In every other state and every other forfeited right, there is a process you go through to get that right back. The GBI has been supportive of it in the past. There's been all kinds of groups supportive of it, but we've not gotten it passed. It will be in a study committee this summer, and I just felt like you needed to know, yes, I am the one involved with that, because I do think that Georgia should have a process for people to get that right back. Thank you. And with that, I'll go while the getting's good. Thank you for the opportunity to serve.
And at this time, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, I'd like to remind you that we have two members who are not here who inadvertently had conflict in their schedules, the Honorable Chairman Richard Smith and Honorable Vance Smith, who had other engagement that they couldn't break. And they're very great servants of our delegation, do great jobs, and we couldn't do it without it. Just want to remind you of that. State Representative Teddy Reese.
Thank you there, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mayor, members of council, City Manager Dr. Hughley, it's truly an honor to represent House District 140 in under the Gold Dome. There was a few things I did want to mention as well that is very significant to the budget in Columbus here locally. Senator Robinson talked about the 32 residency slots for St. Francis. Well, that amounted to $2 million, a little over $2 million that will be brought forth for that. The Georgia Board of Health Care Workforce, Mercer School of Medicine grant, they'll be receiving a little over $600,000 grant. And there will be a bond proposal for Columbus Technical College of $1.8 million. Those are the things, what we've covered today are the things that you guys asked us specifically to address, as well as we wanted to share with you the items that will impact Columbus directly from the state budget. But there are a myriad of bills that were passed this year. The governor is still signing some. As a matter of fact, I was with him today in Atlanta. I was honored to be one of the only freshmen in the class to have a bill passed this year. So the governor signed it in my presence, and thank you. Thank you. It's truly an honor to represent this area, but there are some things I know the rest of the city would want to know about, like tenant rights and housing. There are bills that we passed in that perspective. There are bills that we passed in relation to healthcare, diabetes monitoring systems, getting insurance companies in Georgia to pay for biomarker testing, which will help us indicate cancer early in people's healthcare journeys just by simply taking their blood. So those are things that the state of Georgia that I'm glad that we passed to help expand how we view healthcare for people here in the state of Georgia. And Mr. Mayor, I also want to leave with saying, we want to thank you for your kind words of speaking on how strongly the delegation is, but however, we could not do our work without the cooperation. The text messages that we would receive from you during the session was very critical and vital to our success in Atlanta, and the communications from the city manager, as well as the communications from our friends at the chamber. And I see Bill Dudley here with us today. I just want to say thank you to him as well, because we represent the people best when we have communication that flows back to us, letting us know what people in Columbus need. So it's an honor to serve you in Atlanta, and certainly this was my first brief in the council. So hopefully, Pop Barnes, you'll give me a good grade on this.
Healthcare.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I greeted the seniors too, and they told everybody you wish you could have been there. They said that they missed you the day that we had the seniors there, sir.
They told me you were supportive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So thank you all for what you do, and I look forward to serving and honored to serve the people of Columbus, Georgia.
Yeah, thank you, Representative Reese. Let me remind you, Mayor, of course, members of the council, specifically an item that we spoke about and we dealt with the city attorney, the mayor, and the city manager. We spoke about the Golden Park item. We took care of that. That was passed unanimously on the last day of the Senate, and the House sine die. And the hot pursuit, a problem that we've been having with public vehicles and law enforcement vehicles have to go from one state to the other. That is now something that we got in motion with our communications by permission of the mayor and city council with the attorney general of the state of Georgia. So we got those two things done. I understand it had been a big deal that you had been trying to get for years, and prayerfully we got it done. I think we're going to take it across with the experience from our learned council and city manager and the mayor and other members of the council. We appreciate you, okay? Thank you so much. If there are other questions, let us know. Not otherwise, we're just glad to be here.
I think Councilor Barnes has a question.
Yes.
Appreciate all that you do, sincerely, because we know how hard you have to work. I am here to extend a personal invitation for the River Valley Regional Commission as chair to each of you on the 24th. So happy that you come down, and each of you have made an effort to come down to that, representing all of the 16 counties. And so really appreciate you. Personal invitations are going out. I'm sending another one out just to remind you, because I know you all are very, very busy. Look forward to you supporting as you always do, and speaking to all the constituents in the 16 counties that are there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Councilor Huff.
Just want to thank you all for being here. I had a moment in Atlanta years and years ago, and I had a conversation about a week ago with the freshman, Representative Teddy Reese. And I was recalling back in 1992, I got a phone call. We were getting a new seat in the district, and State Senator Sanford Bishop was going to run for Congress. And when they finished searching and searching and searching, Representative Carolyn Hughley now was one of the names that popped up, and State Senator Ed Harbison. And these two have been here since that time. I've had the opportunity to drive through Atlanta, see them, see others, and watch government at work. I've been there with the teen achievers from Columbus State in the past where we sat in and let them watch you work. So I just want to appreciate you all. Representative Debbie Buckner and I shared some conversations I didn't know about her family business. Until a few years ago, she was running for re-election. And State Senator back there behind you,
Robinson.
He's kept it real for me. He was working with the Sheriff Department when I was elected, and we used to have a lot of good conversations. And he would share things with me as far as how things worked and what went on and things we could do and things we couldn't do. But for the freshmen,
Thank you.
congratulations to you. To get a bill passed your first year, that's quite an accomplishment.
God is good.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
thank you to all of
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank all of you.
Thank you for what you do.
We are
Thank you for
very
what you
proud
do.
and grateful
It's
for
not
the way
easy
you do
being
your
you.
job.
Trust me, I know that.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you,
Thank y'all
sir.
so much.
Thank
Thank y'all
y'all.
for sharing your
Appreciate it.
evening with us, too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Give them a round of applause. All right, next on the mayor's agenda is the presentation of the 2024 budget to council. And I won't belabor this point. We're going to have an opportunity to, as an entire body, to go through all of the items in the budget. I will tell you that this was a really tough budget year. It was really difficult because council had made a concerted and very intentional effort to try to do what we can to minimize some of the impact from supply lines and labor force issues. And so with the adoption of the pay plan and the implementation of the pay plan, it's put a stress on our, we'll let people get out first, so I'm sorry. But it's going to put a strain on our budget. It's going to end up having between a $15–20 million impact by the time it's all said and done. And there's some other items that also created a little bit of pressure on the budget this year. One was some supplementing that we did for the Integrated Waste Fund reserve balance, and others, some additional pressures that are being placed on our delivery of emergency services through the CFEMS. And another area that we were committed to, that this council was committed to last year, and we stuck with that this year, is trying to hold the line as much as we can on some of the fringe benefits, some of the benefits that are received by our employees, because we know that inflation is hitting. We know that it's costing more just to live your daily lives. So we wanted to be very mindful of that when it came to our employees. So for the 8th year in a row, I believe it's the 8th year, we're not recommending an increase to the employees on their health insurance. We feel like this is not the year to do that. We stuck with our commitment of 73% of that premium paid by the government and 27% paid for by the employees. So we will be glad to flesh through some of these other items, and we look forward and thank council in advance for their careful deliberation of the budget over the next month. Also have to thank, just as John House did earlier, I'll mention it again, city manager and his office, the deputy city managers, certainly our finance director, Angelica Alexander, and all of her team, but really all of the department heads. They came in and made a lot of requests. We had a lot of requests for personnel this year, and it just wasn't feasible. For the most part, not many of those requests were granted. And we know it's going to make another tough challenge for our department heads to continue to deliver services the way that in which the citizens expect the services to be delivered. But I do want to thank staff. I'm going to ask Ms. Alexander now if she has any comments as she comes up. And council, again, thank you in advance for deliberating on this budget.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. City Manager, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I just want to make a brief mention of the budget review sessions for the FY '24 budget. The first budget review session will be May 2nd, beginning at 9 a.m., tentatively ending at 3 p.m. Obviously, that just depends on the number of department presentations that we have that day. Of course, that day we'll provide an overview presentation that takes up a large part of the beginning of the meeting. We'll have our healthcare update, and then again, our infrastructure update, as well as other department and agency presentations. The second budget review session will be immediately following the May 9th council meeting. Tentatively, the time is 12 p.m. Again, that's immediately following the meeting, so if the meeting goes a little longer than 12, then obviously the budget review sessions will kick off after the meeting. And then the last budget review session will be May 16th, again, beginning at 9 a.m., tentatively ending at 3 p.m. Again, that just really depends on the department presentations that day, which we'll try to limit because we do have the add-delete list that we'll have to go through and finalize that day if there are any items to be adjusted in the budget. In terms of advertisement of the budget, we'll have those advertisements in the paper by June 6th. It'll advertise the budget as deliberated on by the Budget Review Committee, as well as the first Taxpayer Bill of Rights. The first Taxpayer Bill of Rights hearing, if necessary, we anticipate that would be on the 13th of June. And that'll be at 9 a.m. and 6 p.m., 9 a.m. being as part of the regularly scheduled council meeting. And then the third Taxpayer Bill of Rights hearing will be June 20th, again, if necessary. We'll have the first reading of the budget ordinance also on June 13th, with the second reading being June 20th. And then the first reading of the millage ordinance, June 20th, with the second reading being June 27th. And Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to lay out the schedule there for the upcoming budget review sessions.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. All right. We will move on to the city attorney's agenda. Mr. City Attorney, if you'd hit your light. For some reason, it's not. There it is.
Thank you, Mayor. Have a fairly short business agenda. Welcome to Councilor Begley. Councilor Begley is legally entitled to vote on any of the items on our agenda or any of the other business agendas tonight. But first up is a zoning item at 4128 Forest Road, recommended for approval for single family 2.
Motion and a second to approve. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, please cue it. And councilors, you can register your votes. All right, how did the three councilors on virtual? All three of them vote in favor, so that's unanimous.
All right. Did we get affirmative from them?
Yes.
Okay, item 2 is 5747 Veterans Parkway. It's going to general commercial, B Street investment, ready for approval.
Motion second to approve. Any discussion? All right, please cue it. You can register your votes, please. Madam Clerk, the three online, all voted yes? Okay, so that passes unanimously.
Item 3 is the property at 3019 Fifth Avenue going to light manufacturing, ready for adoption.
Motion second to approve item 3. Any discussion? All right, please cue it, Chris. Enter your votes, please. The 3 online, all 3 vote yes. Missing a couple more. Okay. Record Councilor Crabb as a yes. And Councilor Kogel has it, that's right, as a yes as well.
Get everybody?
Yep, that's
Okay.
passed.
Item
Unanimous.
4 is property at 5436 Forest Road. It's going to general commercial Columbus Storage.
All right, motion second to approve. Any discussion? All right, please cue it. You can enter your votes. And the three online, all vote yes. That's unanimously passed.
All right, and our last item would extend the business occupation tax licensing deadline to May 1.
All right, there's a motion second to approve item 5. Any discussion on that or any questions? Hearing none, please cue the vote. Councilors, you can register your votes now. And the three online, all vote yes. That's passed unanimously.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. That's all we had listed tonight.
All right, thank you, Mr. City Attorney. We'll move to the public agenda. Reminder that everybody will have 5 minutes at the podium. We ask if you aren't able to finish your thoughts in 5 minutes, you can come back for 3 more minutes at the end of the clerk's agenda. In the order that they were registered, first up is Mr. Ralph Carrizo regarding a request to exempt Walden Pond Development from the requirement to install sidewalks on Emerson Way and Thoreau Court. I'm sorry, Councilor Allen?
If I could.
Mayor Pro Tem Allen, sorry.
That's all right. Just want to remind council that this came up a couple of weeks ago. We delayed it till this meeting to allow us to meet with some citizens. We did not hear from anyone. So I would like to ask council to support this variance. This is out off County Line Road. There are 2 courts that have approximately 10 houses on each court, and there are no sidewalks on rural roads now. County Line Road is not required to have sidewalks. To my knowledge, there are no 1 acre and higher subdivisions that have sidewalks in there, and this would be an exception to that. So the UDO requires sidewalks and subdivisions, and the staff is following what the UDO tells them to do. But the UDO also allows council to grant a variance there, and that's what Mr. Carrizo is requesting. And so I would like to ask council, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the variance. So.
All right, there's a motion and a second to approve the request. Any discussion or questions as to the motion? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Gentlemen, it's been waived.
Mr. Parrish is a resident builder. I just want to thank the council. You know, I know we got a lot going on in the city, and a lot of more important things than a sidewalk. But, you know, for every person that's part of the city, everything's important to them. And we work hard every day to do our part for the city. And you know, Mr. Allen's been out there visiting, and I really appreciate your efforts on this. You know, you being a council, you could say, well, that's a little bit below me. But, you know, sidewalks are important to us, and we're trying to provide a good product to the city. And hopefully, Mr. Parrish, and we can do that, and I thank everyone for it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. All right, next is Ms. Bertha Averett regarding the handling of the police chief's retirement. Ms. Averett? Okay, if she comes back in, we'll work her in. Next is Ms. Portia Edmonds, the Garden of Vision, regarding crime in Columbus. Ms. Edmonds doesn't appear to be in. All right, Mr. Paul Cluverius, regarding section 2021.1 personal transportation devices, with a proposal of expanding the limits of travel to include the areas around Highside Market as well as Fetch Dog Park. All right, next, Ms. Cora Jenkins regarding false alarm concerns. Welcome, Ms. Jenkins. If you would, when you get to the podium, if you give your full name and state your address, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Giving honor to each of you in your respective places. My name is Cora Jenkins. My address is 828 Brown Avenue, Columbus, Georgia. I'm here because of the false alarm, and I'm not sure how you all came up with the way we are being charged, but I have a stack of charges, and I don't see how I'm able to pay the charges that has been charged for me. Just to show you, within a month, these charges. Now, I have no, and just none of us actually can't predict what the weather's gonna do. And all these charges that I have has to do with that. So I'm asking you all to consider $50. It says $50, then the next is $100, and the next is $100. I am a widow, and I try to keep my profit up, but to pay this kind of money is ridiculous. So I came to ask you all to consider another way for us to have to charge, and I'm speaking really for most of us senior citizens and widows having to pay this kind of money for false alarm. Most of these had to do with when the weather was so bad. I think I got about 2 or 3 in one day. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, Ms. Jenkins, we'll get your contact information. When you signed up to speak, you filled out your contact information. We'll ask the police department to reach out to you. Captain Turner has been the contact, and he'll talk to you about this particular item. All right, Councilor Barnes?
Mr. Mayor and Council, I know that other councilors have received, we need to do a relook at this here, a serious relook at this here. I know that Councilor Garrett was fined a number of times for things, and the way this is tracked, there is something missing in this whole scenario. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that at least I was happy we were coming up with some kind of a catch system because people were calling. But I think we're going to the other end of the spectrum right now. A number of people have said that the weather triggers the alarms, and next thing you know, someone's coming out. So I think all of us are super sensitive to this issue because we've all gotten calls, and we need to do a relook at this here. So that's what I would ask for us to do a serious relook at this here. Because in support of what you're saying, ma'am, I know it's, you can't afford something like that, especially a senior citizen. And there is definitely something missing in this here. And I have a concern about the rates that are charged as well. That's another serious issue in this that we need to do. So if I could put that forward for us to have, sit with the police department, sit down and discuss this and discuss really whether we want to stay with the system that we have. Because it's coming from all over the city. We're getting calls.
Yeah, I've gotten the calls too, and Mr. City Manager, if we could kind of put that on for our next work session, maybe bring them in to talk to the CPD about the organization Cry Wolf, and because we have to do something to try to eliminate some of the unnecessary and unintended alarms that are going off because it's preoccupying the officers going in different directions all the time. But I hear what Councilor Barnes is saying. There has to be maybe a little bit more middle ground than we're on right now.
Yes.
So we'll do two things. We'll bring that back for discussion, but I will still have Captain Turner reach out to you and see if he can talk to you about the charges you've already received.
Yes,
Councilor Huff?
Thank you. To piggyback with Councilor Barnes, the weather conditions is something that I'm thinking we really need to take a look at because of wind shifts and things that happen. So I'm sure they'll have that discussion. And we were having a discussion about possibly getting the fire department involved with the police department to have that conversation.
We can do that. We'll just.
when I talked to the people from this office, they said wasn't anything they could do about it because it was the weather. Well, none of us could actually do anything about the weather. That was my concern. But like I said, I got some of these bills came the same day for the same day, and even the ADT came out and they didn't see anything wrong with it. So But I appreciate you all listening to it for me. I listened out what you said you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
My
Thank you.
chief staff has got your number down, and we'll make sure that we have him call you and check on it.
Thank you so much.
All right. And I think we had Mr. Cluverius come back in, Mr. Paul Cluverius, about expanding limits of travel on personal transportation devices to Highside Market as well as Fetch Dog Park. And sir, I don't know if you were in here, you'll have 5 minutes, and we'll give you a warning. If you would start with your full name and your address.
Yes, sir. My name is Paul Claveris. I live at 4 6th Street in Columbus. So I'll be brief, sir. Under section 20-21.1C ordinance on personal transportation vehicles, it outlines the streets that you're allowed to drive golf carts on. There's, if you see the slides, there's 3 spots I think that I'd like the council to consider for change. 1, Chapel Street. I think it was just omitted by admin error. There's no reason at all for that not to be included. So I propose adding Chapel to the plan. Number 2 is 2nd Avenue. Now, I do realize that 2nd Avenue is a state route, but I believe that the entire road is not a state route. I did a little bit of research on it, and I believe it ends roughly about 13th Street. It's supposed to end where it intersects with US 27 and State Route 1, which is Veterans, where there is no intersection. So I believe they use the connector at 13th Street as the connector between those two. So I just want to propose to the council to change the 2nd Avenue south of 9th Street, because that's all residential from there on, just to recognize the fact of life that many people are driving their golf carts there, and it really doesn't make any sense to not have that allowed on that particular set of blocks. And finally, because of the expanding amenities north and east of 13th Street, Highside Market, and the Fetch Dog Park, a lot of people would like to drive their vehicles over there. I propose that crossing is added at Veterans on 14th Street, as well as at the 13th Street via 3rd Avenue. Those are the only 2 places we actually have to add a sign, per se. And I believe that would also recognize it, keeping off state routes and allowing safe travel on less trafficked roads, perhaps. So that's all.
Okay, thank you, sir. Councilor Kogel.
I asked the Dragonflies Trails to move their counter over to their pedestrian and cyclist counter over to Veterans and 14th, just to give us kind of an idea of how many people are already crossing that intersection, since that is where the Dragonfly Trail connects across Veterans. So it's already a fairly well-traveled route on here, and with the development of Fetch Dog Park and with Highside right at the intersection of 14th and 3rd, the golf cart traffic that is already happening over there is fairly significant already. But I do think I was talking to several of our counselors here. I do think that we need to hear from CPD on how we can work that safely. So if that's something that we can bring back and connect with CPD on and possibly amend that ordinance.
Yep. I think one of the challenges is that a lot of people don't operate them legally or safely.
I do think it is important to note that we are trying to take the city in the direction of being a walkable and cycle-friendly city as well, and connecting these 2 areas is going to be important for the development of this.
Well, as I was saying, we have a lot of folks in other parts of the community who have kids that are underage that are riding in these things. They're not driving safely. And I just think I appreciate the counselor bringing in CPD. I think we've got some multimodal issues, because now that we've got Highside, now that we've got fetch in mid-city yards. We need to be able to get folks on foot or on some other device over there. But we need to put the infrastructure there first, because right now, veterans and, 13th, I mean, I've seen pedestrians almost get wiped out from people turning on 13th. So we just need to be a little judicious. Councilor Thomas?
If I recall, Mr. Mayor, when we first put in this ordinance about the golf carts, it was with quite a bit of input from the Columbus Police Department. And I certainly would want that to again take place. And it may be that the fire EMS would need to also be involved in that, particularly because we're talking about Veterans Parkway. And that area that they're talking about is fairly close to Piedmont, and the ambulances go down there. And so I'd like for all of those folks to be involved. And I really, part of all of this is that people are driving golf carts that do not meet the law. And there are regulations of what you have to have on that golf cart. And we need to take a look at that and make sure that those regulations are being enforced. And that because 13th Street and Veterans Parkway are two of the busiest streets in downtown Columbus. And I can understand why there's that issue of walking there. But I really would like to have the police department and the fire department dealing with some of those specific issues of how that should be dealt with. And then let them bring back to us if they have a recommendation to a change in the current ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hughley?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can certainly have engineering work with CPD and bring back recommendations. And certainly engineering will look at best practices, and safety is first and foremost. But I will have them to work with CPD to bring back something for you to review, and they'll either recommend or not recommend based on safety concerns, if there be any.
All right, thank you, sir. Councilor Crabb?
It's my understanding that these carts aren't allowed on the bike path. Is that correct? Some of these paths right here coincide with the bike path. I mean, but they'd be on the street? I see. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Claveris, thank you for bringing this up, sir. We appreciate you being here. All right. Next is Mr. Marvin Broadwater regarding public agenda decorum. Senior, yes, sir. I apologize. I know that, too.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members, Mr. City Manager, Mr. City Attorney, staff, and citizens from Muskogee County. My name is Marvin Broadwater Senior. I reside at 3004 Slippery Rock Court, Columbus, Georgia, 31909. As always, thank you for your continued service to make this community better. Before I begin my address, however, I would like to take just a couple of moments and thank Councilman House and his wife, Marilyn, for their service to this council and the citizens of this community. I'm wearing something he knows well. I decided to wear it in his honor because I believe him to be a man of honor. I'm wearing the Order of St. Maurice. While we may have disagreed on a plethora of subjects, Councilman House, I must admit, at the end of every conversation, I always walked away with respect for you. You responded to every single email that I sent. I now place you in my Hall of Fame, which includes Command Sergeant Major Eddie Roberts and Colonel retired Robert Bob Portership. And before I actually get into my presentation for tonight, I would ask that we look at our charter again. When we replace a member of this council without any public hearings, to me, that's an issue. I'd ask that you look at that. And I volunteer my services, as I've said always, to that Charter Review Commission. There are a lot of things that we need to look at by those that have actually boots on the ground. I placed my name on today's agenda while I sat in the last city council meeting because of a situation I observed and found myself directly in the middle. I saw a citizen address this body and was allowed to call people in the audience race baiters and stated they did not see these citizens in the community when people were murdered. The folks in my circle are typically there prior to the murders, trying to prevent the murders, as we were in terminal court yesterday. While I have been a person to believe in everyone's First Amendment right and have actually fought for just such, no one, and I do mean no one, has the right to incite others in this chamber. This clearly upset the gentleman sitting next to me. As he stood up, I placed myself between him and the speaker. I quickly realized the speaker was wearing a weapon. This situation, in my opinion, could have gone south, have gotten out of hand quickly. Mr. Mayor and City Council, I ask that you readdress the criteria and standard of the public agenda for speaking to include asking all speakers to simply address the mayor and the city council as it is defined in parliamentary procedures of Robert's Rules of Order. Secondly, I ask that only department heads are allowed to address this council and carry a weapon. There is something inherently wrong with anyone wearing a weapon at this podium. I have a weapon carrying permit. Does that mean I can wear my weapon in this hollow chamber? I said with a resounding no. We must respect each other, even if we disagree with each other. It's called democracy. And I'm gonna leave you something with somebody by the name of Albert Einstein said, and I quote, "Intellectuals fix problems. Geniuses prevent them," unquote. So I ask you, let's all be geniuses going forward. We have to be more proactive. Again, as I said, I'm looking forward to working with you, Councilman Begley. That's right, but I'm gonna get it right. But I look forward to working with you because now you represent me here. So I thank all of you for your time and your service. Serve well.
Thank you, sir. All right, next is Ms. Teresa Elamine, representing Southern Anti-Racism Network, regarding a need for strategic planning to address the issues that will improve the quality of life for all citizens. Welcome, Ms. Elamine.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I should have started walking sooner.
You're
I
fine.
still haven't gotten quite used to how slow I am these days. Teresa Elamine, 6363 Flat Rock Road, District 5. Mr. Mayor and City Council members, I really appreciate that you tolerate me and the emails I send to you about the work that you're doing. And my topic today is about the need for strategic planning. When you ask Chief Blackman to do a strategic plan on February 14th, I thought to myself, do you have one? Because what's really important is every city I've lived in, they have all kinds of plans. The planning department does a very good job. Mr. Jones gave me this really thick book. It was like a 30-year strategic plan, I think. And I've been trying to get in touch with the planning department because in my move, I've kind of misplaced it. But I know that you have plans. The plan that I emailed you about today, Columbus 2025. Well, that's a 10-year plan. I see Mr. Hughley's name is on that list of people, and Mayor Tomlinson was on that list of people as a part of the development of that plan. And that's really important that the city departments, all the boards and commissions are part of the Columbus 2025 plan. It's a 10-year plan, 2015 to 2025. 2025 is right around the corner. And though the plan mentions poverty, when the Southern Anti-Racism Network joined the chamber, I said to the leadership of the chamber at that time, a lot has changed. Not enough is done in this plan to address poverty. And I sent you the link to the website today, and you can see that that is most certainly true. Shamelessly, Ms. McLemore, here's my, I'm in the middle of a 3-year strategic plan, and I took the liberty to make a copy of that strategic plan for the usual 22 folks who get it. I developed that strategic plan to assist a 100-plus-year-old organization in dismantling its internal white supremacy. So you can look over it, but the key points about the plan is that goals is where we start, always. What do you want to accomplish by when? The plan started in January of 2022, and it goes to December of 2024. There are quite a few people involved, and the Southern Anti-Racism Network is kind of partnering with the Black Liberation Caucus of that organization, which we started at the same time we started the Fannie Lou Hamer branch, which exists here in Columbus. So with my 1 minute left, I want to say that several of us in the community have decided to come together to develop a 5-year strategic plan, and we'll be getting up with you about it. It's going to cover areas of elections like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 coming up next year. So the plan will start really this year, Mr. Allen. And Ms. McLemore, I don't want to give out too many of these sheets, but I do want the mayor to have one, because this is, and I want you to have one for the clerk's office for the record. But what that is a worksheet, a worksheet that people I work with use to kind of get started on strategic planning. And I'm sure the clerk can make copies if anybody else would like to have one.
Thank you, Ms. Elamine.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I will be getting back with you around this if you don't mind.
Not a bit.
Thank you.
Look forward to it. Madam Clerk, did you have a comment or something? Okay. All right. Next is Mr. Wayne Hales, representing the Columbus NAACP regarding amending the 60-day rule and appointment of city council member.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Welcome, Mr. Hales.
Mayor Pro Tem, City Manager, and council members. I'm only going to speak to one, and I hope that you don't hold that against me when I put it down to speak again. So I won't even mention it. I know we have a problem with that. But I do want to come to you and talk about, again, the process that you all have used in appointing an interim city councilor. You know, I think you lost an opportunity to show that we are one Columbus. For years, we have worked together to build a Columbus where the best and brightest of our young people would want to come back to our city after graduating from Columbus. Now, over the weekend, I know each of you have either received an email or phone call asking that you consider just such an individual, and that is Janice Granville. She was reared here in Columbus, Georgia, graduated high school here, went off to college. She's a graduate of Spelman College and the University of Georgia School of Law, and currently serves as the Vice President and General Manager of Davis Broadcasting. Now, I know it's a moot point at this time, but the process seems to be rushed, and my question is, why was it rushed? Is there an issue so pressing that you can't or could not have waited until the next city council meeting to vote on the interim appointee? You have the power to delay that if you wanted to. I mean, just at the last city council meeting, you delayed an action indefinitely. So surely you could have said, let's wait. And again, this process, I guess we heard about Councilman House's intention to resign just last week. So within 7 days, you've been able to have had obviously meetings before the meeting or phone calls before the meeting to be able to come to today with a new appointee approved and have the judges waiting in the chambers ready to swear him in. Now, I understand that past councilors have, when retiring or resigning, have chosen who they wanted to come before them or who they would want to succeed them. And most recently, I said it was mentioned that it was the case with the late Evelyn Turner Pugh. But in hindsight, I'd have to challenge that. First of all, the seat belongs to the people, and the people should have an opportunity to weigh in on who should serve even in the interim. As a council, you should have at least had the decency to allow Councilor House to resign and not only give the public time to fully understand that an appointment is going to be made, but allow them a chance to place their hat in the ring if they needed to. It is even more important when it's selecting to fill an at-large seat, because that person represents all of Columbus. And if you're going to make that appointment in that regard, it should be reflective of our city. And in this case, it should have been, or would have nice have been, someone who represents the 48% of the majority demographic of Muskogee County. I would have hoped at least one of you would have had the fortitude to speak up and suggest that you delay any vote at this time. So instead, let me say this, and let me say this. I would suggest that we change our city slogan, because contrary to what it says, we did not do amazing this evening with this selection. Now, with that being said, Councilor Bagley, the IMA, the NAACP, and there's a representatives from the Divine Nine and a host of Black civic and social agencies. We will be calling on you to have a meeting, and we would hope that you would call, at least answer the call when we do. Okay. So thank you.
Thanks, sir. All right, next, Ms. Evie Kettler regarding a discussion on tethering. Ms. Kettler, if you'd start with your name and address, please, ma'am.
My name is Evie Kettler, and I live at 514 Lindsay Taylor Way, Troup County, Georgia. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. I'm here to discuss the dangers of tethering. I founded Pause for Change, a nonprofit that educates about the dangers of tethering, and we build fences for tethered dogs. We have seen firsthand what tethering does to a dog. I am here because of a recent attack by a dog named Cowboy. who has no voice and no choice.
Ma'am, if you would back up just a bit from the microphone
Okay.
so we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can, thank you.
Cowboys' parents are here today, sitting in the front, first and second row. I have been following the story of Cowboy, and I'm disappointed that no one has reported what could have caused the attack and how to prevent this from happening again. Recently, a Columbus Animal Advisory member asked the Animal Advisory Board to consider a no unsupervised tethering ordinance, and twice the board voted no. Unsupervised tethering poses a significant safety risk to communities. Experts have long agreed that continuous tethering, whether single point or 2-point, is inhumane, causes immense physical and emotional suffering in dogs. Equally important is the link between animal abuse and other crimes. Examples include family violence, illegal drugs, firearms, and property crimes. Dogs tethered for long periods can become highly aggressive. Dogs feel naturally protective of their territory. When confronted with a perceived threat, they respond according to their fight or flight instinct. A tethered dog unable to take flight often feels forced to fight, attacking any unfamiliar animal or person who unwittingly wanders into their territory. I have reviewed manufacturer instructions on multiple trolley systems, and they state the following. This product is for attended temporary tethering only. Do not leave the pet unattended with a connected tether. Maintain a constant observation during tethering to prevent injury to the pet and others. Do not use this product with mean or vicious dogs prone to aggressive behavior. We did not know this information in 2016 when the Columbus passed their tethering ordinance. Permitting dogs on unsupervised trolley systems does not decrease the dog's bite risk or make the community any safer. We must ask ourselves, if continuous unsupervised tethering is both cruel to the dog and dangerous to the humans, why would we continue to allow this practice in our community? Tethering creates aggression, not protectiveness. Dog bite attacks continue to be a major problem in our communities. According to State Farm Insurance, Georgia ranks 10th out of 50 states for dog bite liability claims. I am here today asking you to consider adopting one of the ordinances I have provided. A well-worded ordinance begins the process of educating dog owners about the dangers and cruelty of unsupervised tethering. No unsupervised tethering ordinances such as these are not unheard of. They are being passed throughout Georgia and across the country. I have provided you with a copy of your ordinance, and I've read over 150 ordinances. The Columbus ordinance is very hard to follow and unenforceable. I spoke to Officer Sykes, who told me he has never issued a citation for the 12-hour rule. I understand animal control relies on the citizens to enforce the tethering ordinance. Partial bans on tethering struggle with enforceability. The most effective ordinance and easiest to enforce is a complete ban on unsupervised tethering, including the ban on trolley systems. The clear distinction allows animal control to evaluate a citation and cite if necessary. Most animal control officers do not have time to monitor a dog for extended periods. In summary, tethering is a critical issue that impacts animal welfare and public safety. The safety and well-being of citizens are safeguarded when we also address the safety and well-being of companion animals. Your protective efforts as council to strengthen local policies and complaints to animal control and prevent tragedies like this before they occur. Your packet includes materials concerning tethering, the trolley system information, 2 emails from Animal Control in Newton County and Cherokee, and the Columbus ordinance, which I ask that you please look over that ordinance.
Ms. Kettler, thank you very much. Thank you for bringing this to council. I'm sure they'll take a look at it. If there's any questions, they'll be able to reach out to you.
If we don't tell y'all that ordinance is not working, you will not know.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. I think the last individual that had signed up, Ms. Gail Burgos, had called to cancel. So we will now move forward to the city manager's agenda. Mr. Hughley?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got 3 grants. One is a solar lighting bus stop grant for Metro for $213,295.
Motion second to approve. Is there any discussion on item 1 on the city manager's office agenda? Hearing none, please cue it, and councilors enter your votes. And the 3 online have all said yes, so that passes unanimously.
Okay, and there's no match on that grant. The second grant is a Liberty Theater, State of Georgia, Department of Community Affairs, One Georgia grant.
Motion second to approve item 2. Motion second to approve item 2. Any discussion? Hearing none, please cue it, and we'll let council register their votes. Okay, and all 3 on virtual vote yes, so that passes unanimously.
And there's no match on that grant. I've got juvenile justice incentive grant request, $750,000.
Motion second to approve the juvenile justice grant. Any discussion? All right, please cue it. Councilors register your votes.
And there's no match required on that grant.
All right. And the 3, that's unanimously passed as well.
I've got a few purchases. I've got property cleanup services where we go out on an as-needed basis.
Yeah, hold on just a second. We've got to close that door so we can hear. All right, there was a motion second to approve items A through G on the city manager's purchases list. Are there any that anyone would like pulled for further discussion? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ms. Hughley, if you go through those items, please.
So the first item is cleanup services on an as-needed basis. Of course, where we go out and clean up property where grass is overgrown or other issues with property. I've got tire leasing services for Metro City buses. We've got 7-yard dump truck for Public Works, and carbon dioxide liquid bulk and tank rentals for our swimming pools. I've got amendments 6, 7, and 8 for construction manager as general contractor services for Columbus Government Center Complex, and they're also doing some work at the Tesis property, Gilbane, for the sheriff's new office that we have approved in the past. We've got an 18-yard dump truck for Parks and Recreation, 20-foot rigid inflatable patrol boat for sheriff's office. Those are the purchases. And I've got a few updates. And let me just say that the updates on the animal care center, someone had requested it, the audit findings and staff issues. You're going to be emailed that PowerPoint tonight, and the one on integrated waste, you're going to be emailed tonight. Staff were not able to get it out to you on Friday as required. They got it to me yesterday, and so it's being delayed because we didn't get it to you as you require on Friday, and they'll present it actually at the next meeting, but we will email the PowerPoints, both of those, to you tonight. And so C and D will be emailed to you. D and E will be emailed to you tonight, and we'll actually present them at the next meeting. And so we've got a brief update on illegal dumping hotline, and we talked to you about it at the last meeting. You heard from Deputy City Manager Goodwin on Georgia Cities Week already. And then.
Mr. City Manager, excuse me,
yes.
Councilor Crabb has a question.
Sure.
Thank you. Since the animal control was delayed, when she comes back, can she address the tethering that was just brought up tonight and her thoughts
yes.
on it?
The young lady?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So when Darrell comes up and
Well,
talks about the audit, can she also address that
I
at the
think you
same
can,
time since
you
it
can,
was delayed?
you can extend that courtesy to her, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Continue, sir.
Let me just call them one at a time. Illegal dumping hotline, and then that will be followed by the interim measures for traffic at Mahaffey Road and County Line Road intersection. Deputy City Manager Lisa Goodwin.
If I could ask, it's been requested by the Mayor Pro Tem that after the Deputy City Manager, if we could bring Judge Smith up here. He's been waiting on magistrate court.
Yes.
Okay.
He's here for another matter, yes.
Yeah, Deputy City Manager.
Okay, good evening, and this is going to be very short. Just wanted to bring to your attention that we now have a new illegal dumping hotline that citizens can call. That number is 706-225-3001. It's an anonymous hotline, so the telephone number that they call from will not be displayed. They do not have to leave their name or any other information. We won't know who's calling, but we will check that line, and you can, again, leave information, and we'll talk about that. But I do want to mention, I think, when the city manager brought up at the last meeting regarding a court date, and that court date was on the 19th, in which, right there at Isaac Drive and Matilda Lane, where that person who did the illegal dumping was charged a $1,000 fine. And to our knowledge, that was the very first fine that was placed on an individual for dumping or for littering since that ordinance was enacted. So, you know, that lets us know, I mean, it works. If you just let us know what's going on. So if you see something, say something. And that's the message that we are trying to convey. All we need is a photo or video of the vehicle and the tag. If we get the tag number, that's what we need to actually make a case against them. We need the location of the illegal action, and then you can call the hotline. A number of different ways that you can get the information to us. Again, by calling the hotline, again, the 706-225-3001. You can also upload the exact location and the photos into the 311 app. And of course, you can get that through, it's the Columbus 311 is what the app is called. You can also call 311, provide them your information, what you have seen. They will then get it to the proper authorities. Again, 311, or you can call the 706-653-4000 number, which will also get you to 311, or email 311 at citizensservices@columbusga.org. If you are willing to go to court to testify of what you have seen, that of course strengthens the case. And so again, we just want you to know that there is an anonymous hotline that you can call for illegal dumping. We're all to the point of enough is enough, and this is going to help make those cases.
And Mayor and Council, I really want to thank the Recorder's Court judge for her decision. And she shared with that person that she fined $1,000, that when we bring them to court, that is going to be the fine that she applies to illegal dumping or littering. And I've committed it through this hotline, like I went with a citizen who reported it, and to inspections and codes. They sent their officer, the citizen was there, and I went and stood with the citizen. And I intend, through this hotline, to go and stand with the citizen if they've got the courage to video, record, and go to court. I'm going to go stand with them at each of those court cases And I hope that we get the same judge because she has committed that the fine will be $1,000. We've got to send a message. We must clean up our community. And so we're excited. I'm excited about the hotline.
Very good. Thank you.
Next, I've got interim measures for traffic at Mahaffey Road and County Line Road. We've got our city engineer here, Donna Newman.
Thank you. Real briefly, I know that this is an ongoing problem, a complaint that Mayor Pro Tem has been receiving through the years. And we say this is an interim measure because this is a.
Oh, I'm sorry, you wanted the judge.
Well, I think
but-
you
yeah,
said that the engineer was going next, and after that, if we could
Okay.
call up the judge.
Sorry.
Okay, I apologize.
Yeah.
This won't take very long, I promise. Anyway, it is a band 3 project that includes the ramps as well and likely widening of the bridge. So we looked at what could we do in the interim to handle the traffic at this intersection. I know it's the subject of many discussions and complaints. So we started looking at roundabouts. Roundabouts work really well and are very efficient at moving traffic and slowing traffic down and assigning right-of-way. So in looking at that, we looked at the roundabout at Warm Springs Road and Billings Road. That roundabout's been in place for many years now and works very efficiently, is able to handle truck traffic. We want to make sure it can handle truck traffic, which would include school buses. So when we looked at it and they went out, the survey supervisor and the assistant director went out and just kind of laid it out to see if that particular roundabout would fit at this location. And we think with some minor adjustments, we can get it to work. So the intention is, unless there's some major concerns tonight, would be pretty close to when school is out. We'll go ahead and order materials. This will all be done with modular paint, raised pavement markers, things that could be easily changed or removed if it becomes a problem. And we're not expecting any problems, but you don't know till you try sometime. And how well the traffic will adjust to the change in the patterns. But anyway, our plan would be to start soon after school because traffic is a lot less when school is out, to lay it out and get it installed. And then again, at any time, if it became a problem, then we could remove it. And it would stay in place until such time the construction of the larger project began.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Newman, I'm tickled to death that you brought this up, and finally we're going to be able to get some relief out there. Did you say that there was any right-of-way that needed to be purchased?
No, sir, we think we can do it within existing right-of-way.
Okay, all right. Well, do you need an approval tonight? Or are you asking for a vote tonight or for council?
I don't guess I really need a vote. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't any
Okay.
major concerns before we started.
Well, I was going to make a motion and ask my counsel for help, but.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well, thank you for pursuing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so next, Mayor, I'm actually going to call the finance director to talk to us about the judge and why he's here.
I'll let my representative speak.
Welcome, Judge. Thank you for your patience.
Hello again. Judge Smith is here pursuant to ordinance 13-39, which says that if a department or elected official wishes to or may exceed their budgeted appropriations, they would have to come and ask for additional appropriations from this council. And what the judge is requesting in terms of exceeding the budgeted appropriations, currently there is a small amount allocated in his budget for a public defender. This amount has been the same for several years. It has not changed or increased throughout the years. And just due to the increase in the criminal caseload in the municipal court, the value of the monies that's currently paid out to the public defender, the contracted public defender that's representing in municipal court is just not the same. What the judge is requesting is an additional appropriation for this fiscal year, starting the 1st of May, it'd be an additional $2,334. It'd be an annual appropriation of about $14,000 to increase the pay for this particular public defender in municipal court so that it's more in line with the public defenders that we pay in both state court and more in line with the hourly rate that we pay conflict public defenders in recorder's court.
All right, Councilor Thomas?
Would you remind us about how the salary of the public defenders is decided? Do we pay the entire amount, or some of that come from another source, or would you speak to that?
Yes, ma'am. So in the state court and in municipal court, we employ or utilize contract public defenders. So we don't actually pay them a salary. We pay them a set amount to show up to court every week when court is in session. For the recorder's court and for the circuit just as a whole, we do pay, again, a contract amount to the state, to the Georgia Public Defenders Council, and that includes the salaries and the benefits and all of that for those contract circuit public defenders. Those circuit public defenders, again, serve the circuit, which includes Muskogee County. They also serve in recorder's court, but they do not serve in municipal court or state court.
Okay.
Let me just say, the reason that we're coming is not an hourly increase for the public defender that we use. It is simply because of the fine work of our sheriff, the number of hours that they have to work in a month has gone from about 15 to 40. And so I'm simply trying to keep an amount sufficient to find someone who will be my public defender. If I don't have a public defender, I can't have court. And the sheriff is making a lot of cases. We've gone from 30, 45-minute Monday, Wednesday, Friday to 2.5, 3, maybe even 4 hours on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And on Tuesday afternoon, we've had to add a court session, a fourth court session. And to get a lawyer to cover all that time, we have to pay them more than we had before. Quite frankly, up until 8 years ago, we paid them out of office supplies. And 8 years ago, we then got a budget of $10,000 a year. But we need now, $10,000 a year, which is $833. So for 15 hours, that's not much for a lawyer. And now we have somebody that we need for 35 or 40. I've gone through 3 people, I think, because of the lack of funding. But we've got a new person coming on in May, hopefully with this increase.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we grant this $14,000. Was that what you said, Ms. Alexander?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, there's a motion and a second to approve the judge's request. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The 3 on virtual, all vote yes, so you got your increase.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
And Judge, we'll send you a bill for the finance director's representation.
I don't think I can afford it.
She made a pretty good lawyer right then, so.
She needs to come back because I need her to talk about fire EMS. I need you to talk about fire EMS.
Sorry. Oh, hello again. Fire EMS is here, also pursuant to Ordinance 13-39, which says that if a department or elected official will exceed their budgeted appropriations, they have to request additional appropriations from this council. And so it's been obviously, so they've had some challenges with the auto parts and supplies, there being a shortage in mechanics in the fleet shop that are certified to work on the vehicles for our fire and EMS department. So auto parts and supplies has been one of those budget line items that have just kind of consistently run over. There are some adjustments that have been made to the budget for fuel and I believe auto parts and supplies for FY24. And as well as overtime, but for FY '23, we do anticipate, as it relates to overtime, auto parts and supplies, and fuel, that Fire and EMS will need an additional $1.1 million in budgeted appropriations. I do believe that this is likely something that we can cover from other areas. So I don't anticipate any real impact to reserves, but obviously the funding source would be reserves, because it all just sort of wraps up to reserves at year end. So that would be the request for Fire and EMS.
Okay. There's a motion and a second to approve. All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? And those online agree as well. Thank you, Chief.
And Chief Scarpa, did you have anything you want to say?
Not really. Mr. City Manager, good evening, Mayor and Council. I will say that we have made some fairly substantial strides in decreasing our overtime. And I think by this time next year, overtime, with all things being equal, will not be an issue for us. As the Finance Director pointed out, our challenge is still going to continue to be with auto parts and fuel, and hopefully fuel will come down for all of us.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. And Mayor, let me just, that concludes my agenda, but I am going to ask, I don't know who to ask, I guess Deputy City Manager Pam Hodge to come and talk about the summer youth program that, the mayor's summer youth program, I should say, that we're trying to get off the ground as we're coming to the closed school getting out for the summer. She's gonna come later. That's not that. So Mayor, because of obviously fast approaching, we just need to get the word out.
So good evening, Mayor and Council. This is just an announcement related to the Mayor's Summer Youth Program. We have just posted that announcement yesterday, so just trying to get the word out. For any youth ages 16 to 24, we're looking again for 2023 high school graduates that are interested in a summer job. It's a 6-week program, June 12th through the 30th, July 10th through the 28th. 6 weeks, 20 hours a week, $14 an hour. There's some skills training that will be provided through a partnership that we're working on with Urban League. And so we are looking for individuals who might be interested in some work with the city. We're also partnering with the school district as well. Different offices will help mentor these youth and students. Hopefully we'll find some that are interested in applying for full-time work with the city if they're a recent graduate. So tell your friends and neighbors, they do have to be a Muskogee County resident. And we are targeting qualified census tracts to look at those that are in those types of disadvantaged areas. This is funding through ARP. So we are targeting specific qualified census tracts within Muskogee County.
And so we will be sending out a news release.
Yes.
So
yes.
Make sure you send it to Marvin Broadwater and Davis Broadcasting and all of everybody, but I think he'll probably, how many students are we? I didn't ask you how many you have. I'm asking her. How
so
many?
We are looking.
You want all 30 positions.
And we're looking at 82 youth to join the program this summer. And we'll have 6 to 8 counselors and instructors. There is a program that will go with this to teach them soft skills and how to operate in the workplace for those who haven't had a job before. So anyone that's interested, please reach out. Howard Pendleton's office is working on this program as well as our HR department. So feel free to reach out to them. You can contact myself or Deputy City Manager Lisa Goodwin, and we'll get you pointed in the right direction.
And we're working with the Urban League.
And the Urban League as well as a partner
of
with
Greater
us.
Columbus. So if you know someone around the table, Councilor Barnes or any of you, $14 an hour, and we only have 82 positions, so they need to apply.
We opened it
So
yesterday.
get the word out. Pardon?
We opened it up yesterday. It's on the city's job opportunities webpage.
So please help us.
And frankly, it's a great opportunity if some of these jobs within our municipal government that we are having trouble filling, if we can create that desire in these kids coming right out of high school, we might be able to fill a job and also give them some focus as they move forward. Thank you all for working on it. Hopefully we'll get those 82 slots filled up. I think 30 of them are going to be at the Lamplighters here. in a
You
few
better
minutes.
watch him, yeah. But Mayor, that concludes my agenda.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager.
Okay.
Madam Clerk?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and councilors. For the clerk's agenda, item 1, this is an email correspondence from Tonika Watley. She's the director of the Georgia Division of Family and Children's Services. She's requesting that the seat of Ms. Tallulah Palua be declared vacant due to a lack of attendance.
There's a motion second to approve the request from Ms. Wadley. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, there's a motion and a second to receive the minutes. Any that anyone would like pulled or edited? All right, all in favor say aye. Any opposed?
Next, we have board appointments. We have the council appointment that is ready for confirmation. The Columbus Aquatics Commission, Mr. Tim Crabb was nominated to fill the expired term of Mr. David Helmick.
Motion second to approve Mr. Crabb. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? He's approved.
Next, we have council appointments. Any nominations would be listed for the next meeting. For the Building Authority of Columbus, we have 2 seats that are open for nominations, the seat of Leila Carr and Vincent Allen. For the Columbus Aquatics Commission, we have 1 seat open for nominations, the seat of Mr. Bruce Samuels. For the Commission on International Relations and Cultural Liaison Encounters, we have 1 seat that's open for nominations, the seat of Sarah Ann Arcilla. For the Corporate Extension Advisory Board, the seat of Helen Williams is open for nominations. Next, we have upcoming board appointments, and I have listed the appointing authority next to each. First, we have the Board of Family and Children's Services. This is council's appointment. The Columbus Aquatics Commission, this is council's appointment. The Keep Columbus Beautiful Commission, this is council's appointment. The Pension Fund Employees Board of Trustees, the mayor has an appointment as well as the city manager. The Region 6, Regional Advisory Council, Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, this is council's appointment. We have the Retirees Health Benefits Committee, this is the mayor and council's appointment. The Valley Partnership Joint Development Authority, this is the council's appointment. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Barnes?
Yes, I want to, for Region 6, Ms. Latasha Morse, M-O-R-S-E.
And we will have this listed for the next meeting. Thank you, Councilor Barnes.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to welcome Mr. Begley to the Columbus City Council. Ms. Begley, you want to, I know it's rather late. I didn't know if you wanted to make a comment or two. I should have done this when you first sat up there. It was a little.
Obviously, it's big shoes to fill. Talking to John House, he took this position very seriously. I mean, obviously, he's been serving his country, he's been serving his city for a long time. I know he put a lot of hours into it. He cared a lot about it, and I know it was a very tough decision for him. And so I'm very honored that he nominated me, and I hope to make him proud with this decision, because I know it's very difficult to fill in for him, but I will do the best that I can.
Well, we know you will. Thank you, sir. I think we all look forward to working with you. I will very briefly give a quick update. As you know, we have been working with the Georgia Association of Chiefs of Police. We have several candidates that they have provided, and we are in the process of going through backgrounds and interviews and talking to those individuals because we want to make sure we get the right person. We have also reached out to our 2 consultants and are in the process of getting bids based on the scope of the work. We will decide on one of those to move forward on the permanent replacement, and we have been speaking with them since probably the 8th of April. So, and we will keep all of you advised as we move forward. In the meantime, I will tell you that we've got 2 very capable assistant chiefs that are doing a great job. We've had a number of special operations that have gone on over the last several weeks. And while that's not the ideal situation to continue in that vein, it is one that keeps, allows us to keep the city as safe as we can, so. All right, is there any other business needs to come before the council? Motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you.